Working as a full-time rideshare driver, my nights were spent navigating the chaotic streets, often from dusk till dawn. Most of my passengers were typical, and my imposing presence usually kept any issues at bay. But the real horror I encountered wasn't in the back seat. It was out on the road itself. I averaged a staggering 200 miles every night, mainly operating from 7 p.m. to the early hours of the morning. The post-bar closing hours are notorious for the chaos they bring. Every shift, I'd witness something that would send chills down my spine. It was like a nightly dance with danger. Drunk drivers weaving erratically between lanes, oblivious to traffic rules, were a common sight. The freeway turned into a perilous realm with vehicles speeding by without their lights on. Near misses occurred as often as streetlights flickered. College kids, wasted and reckless, would stumble into the streets with no regard for their own safety. I'd slam on my brakes just in the nick of time as they obliviously darted in front of my vehicle. It was a never-ending battle to avoid tragedy. Then, there were the police chases that never made the headlines. I'd find myself suddenly surrounded by law enforcement vehicles pursuing a suspect at breakneck speeds. The adrenaline rush from witnessing such intense scenes was unparalleled. Fender benders seemed to happen with alarming regularity, their telltale signs of crumpled bumpers and angry exchanges becoming all too familiar. I'd often pull over to provide a statement or assist, doing my part to keep the streets safe. In this adrenaline-fueled nightly odyssey, I found myself more afraid of the strangers outside my car than those sitting behind me. After all, I was the one racing through the darkness, crossing paths with the chaos that unfolds when the city's lights dim. Yet, not all my encounters were on the road. One night, two seemingly polite young girls hopped into my car around 3 a.m. They were quiet during the trip, and I thought nothing of it. But as they exited, I discovered that they had left a horrifying mark. My back seat and dashboard were punctured and vandalized. Reviewing my dashcam footage, I was stunned to see these seemingly demure passengers making gun hand gestures in my direction during the ride. What could have prompted such behavior, I wondered. They'd crossed a line that put us all in jeopardy. Thankfully, the rideshare company covered the damages, and my car was restored to its former state. But that eerie experience served as a stark reminder that the line between safety and chaos could be alarmingly thin. I'd now watch my rearview mirror more closely, aware that anything could happen on these late-night escapades. Every cab driver has their fair share of wild stories, but my buddy's tale takes the cake. This isn't your typical lost passenger story. This one's a roller coaster through farmland and a showdown in the middle of nowhere. So there's my friend, a seasoned cabbie who's seen it all, and one day, he picks up this guy. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary at first, just another day at the office. But little did my friend know that this passenger had a different idea. As they're cruising along, the guy starts acting all confused, pretending like he doesn't know where he's going. He's giving my friend vague directions, forcing him to drive around in circles. It's clear he's up to no good. After a lot of back and forth, my friend manages to get this guy to confess. He admits he's just messing with him. And here's the kicker. He doesn't have a dime to his name. Zero. Now, my buddy isn't one to take nonsense lightly. So he makes a move that's almost like a scene out of an action movie. He pulls over, somewhere in the middle of nowhere, farmland stretching out as far as the eye can see. He tells the guy to get out. 2 months go by, and my friend probably thinks he's seen the last of this joker. But, as life would have it, the same guy hops into his cab one day. It's not like my buddy had forgotten his face. That experience was etched into his memory. They drive along as if it's any regular cab ride. My friend's waiting for the moment when the guy will pull the shenanigans, and he doesn't have to wait long. When they reach the requested stop, the guy bolts out of the cab and starts sprinting like his life depends on it. But here's where my buddy outsmarts him. He anticipates the escape route and takes a shortcut, by foot. He blocks the guy's path, standing tall and ready. And then, in an unexpected twist, he breaks a clipboard over the guy's face. Yes, you read that right. A clipboard. The shocked and now slightly battered prankster isn't going anywhere. And with some not-so-subtle persuasion, my friend convinces him to pay for the fare, plus a hefty $50 tip. Who'd have thought that the tables could turn so dramatically? So that's the epic tale of the cabbie who gave his notorious passenger a run for his money. Turns out you don't mess with someone who knows their way around a clipboard, especially when it's used to keep the playing field level. My buddy, the cab driver, well, let's just say he's not one to be trifled with. Rideshare drivers often have their fair share of tales to tell, and for one Uber driver, a series of peculiar passengers made for some memorable, and sometimes concerning, moments behind the wheel. One evening, as the clock struck 1:00 a.m., the driver picked up a passenger who was, well, let's say quite insistent about his desired destination. This passenger, it seems, had entered the wrong address and decided to guide the driver through the intricate streets themselves. Just drive, he told the perplexed driver. I'll tell you when to turn. As the car weaved through the labyrinthine roads of a neighborhood, our would-be navigator seemed more bewildered than helpful. After some circles, he abruptly requested the car be stopped. However, he had to confess, not my house, but I can walk from here. One can only hope he eventually reached his intended destination safely, for the journey appeared to be a lost cause. Then there was the group of inquisitive passengers who, while not inebriated but clearly intrigued, made an unusual request. They asked the driver if he had a concealed carry permit, which raised an eyebrow or two. The passenger in the front seat decided to take matters into his own hands, quite literally. He turned on his phone light and scanned the driver as if on a covert mission to locate this mysterious permit. The intention behind this curious investigation remains a puzzle, but it did lead to a good chuckle. Lately, the rideshare game has become less enticing, thanks to a change in fare structures, with the rideshare company taking a more significant cut and earnings dwindling as expenses piled up. The driver's hourly wage barely reached $15. Factor in costs like gas and oil changes, not to mention the time spent idling between fares, and the endeavor becomes a less appealing prospect. It seems the days of simply heading out for a shift are over, with drivers now waiting for the sweet allure of a 2x plus surge to make it worth their while. For this Uber driver, the road has been filled with strange detours, intriguing interrogations, and dwindling incentives. It's a testament to the unpredictable, often bizarre world that rideshare drivers navigate every day. Ridesharing can be a roller coaster of experiences, taking you through the mundane, the bizarre, and sometimes even the profoundly unsettling. As a driver, you're often left to navigate unexpected situations, offering a helping hand when passengers are in distress. This is one of those stories, a tale of a night filled with unexpected twists. The journey started routinely enough. You'd been hailed by a young woman from a bar, a common occurrence on weekend nights. You patiently waited at her designated pickup spot, the seconds ticking away. Just as you were contemplating moving on, she emerged from the bar. However, her arrival was not quite as straightforward as you anticipated. The first sign that this would be no ordinary trip was when she mentioned that 2 more people were yet to join the ride. You didn't think much of it at first. Perhaps they were just finishing their drinks or saying their goodbyes. However, when her 2 friends finally emerged, it was clear that something was amiss. One of them was in a state of extreme distress, her tear-streaked face telling a story of turmoil and fear. The explanation came in wrenching fragments. The crying girl had been drugged, slipped a dangerous concoction against her will. Fortunately, her vigilant friends had intervened before any harm could befall her. They had found her in the nick of time, preventing a potentially life-altering situation. This night, however, had more in store for you than you could ever have predicted. The distressed young woman was grappling with a whirlwind of emotions, her world shattered by a traumatic event. Her friends, in their desperation to help her, felt compelled to involve you in their struggle. They urged you to offer words of comfort, to console her, and to convince her that this incident was not her fault. In that unexpected moment, you found yourself thrust into a role you had never anticipated, that of a counselor. While you were willing to assist, the situation was far from ordinary. You, the Uber driver, typically dealing with passengers vomiting or providing navigation, were now tasked with guiding someone through an emotional and existential crisis. As you grappled with your newfound responsibility, you did your best to offer support and reassurance to the girl who had been wronged. You were caught in the intersection of a profoundly unsettling ordeal, and your willingness to lend a sympathetic ear and kind words was a small but significant step towards helping this young woman regain her sense of self. This was one of those unforgettable rides, a journey that took you on an unexpected detour into the world of human resilience and compassion. It serves as a stark reminder that, as an Uber driver, you're more than just a chauffeur. At times, you're a beacon of hope and empathy in a world fraught with challenges.